Christoph Freund set to be next Chelsea sporting director. Following reports this week detailing Chelsea's interest in RB Salzburg sporting director Christoph Freund, the Austrian is now set to take on the same role at Stamford Bridge. It appears that Todd Boehly will get his man for the position of sporting director at Chelsea. Reports emerged earlier this week regarding the American's admiration for Christoph Freund at RB Salzburg and now seem set to bring him to Stamford Bridge. Ben Jacobs discussed this development early Sunday morning, saying that Freund is set to sign a contract as Chelsea's new sporting director imminently. He has already verbally agreed to accept the role, leaving just the formalities to be completed. Talks between the two began in August when the Blues inquired about Salzburg forward Benjamin Sesko. Owner Todd Boehly was particularly impressed by the multi-club model at the Red Bull setup and Freund's extensive utilization of data. The Austrian has already met with new Chelsea boss Graham Potter, and one can now assume this meeting went well, based on how far along Freund's move to West London seems to be. Salzburg are aware of Chelsea's interest in their sporting director, and they have given him their blessing to discuss this opportunity with the Premier League club. Look for this move to develop quickly, as Boehly and company will want to have this role filled before the January transfer window. Chelsea show interest in Bundesliga star Moussa Diaby. Chelsea is amongst 6 other Premier League clubs who have taken interest in Bayer Leverkusen midfielder Moussa Diaby. Despite the summer transfer window coming to a close, Chelsea still looks to scout out their next purchase. The Blues had a busy summer this year, bringing in the likes of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, Raheem Sterling, Dennis Zakaria, Wesley Fofana, Kalidou Koulibaly and a few promising youngsters, whilst letting the likes of Marcos Alonso, Billy Gilmore and Emerson depart the club on permanent deals. Chelsea now looks to keep an eye on 23-year-old Moussa Diaby from Bayer Leverkusen. According to 90 Minute, Diaby has impressed Chelsea and various Premier League clubs after a recent spell of good form. Manchester City, Tottenham Hotspur, Newcastle United and Arsenal are reportedly interested in the Frenchman as well after Diaby scored against Atletico Madrid last week in the Champions League. Last season the 23-year-old managed to rack up 31 goal contribution, helping Bayer Leverkusen to secure third place in the Bundesliga and the all-important Champions League position. However, the German side has failed to replicate last year's performances as Diaby and his team currently sit 16th in Germany's top division after a string of losses and draws. Diaby is the second player the Blues will be looking at this season after sending out English youngster Callum Hudson-Odoi on loan to the German side in order for the 21-year-old to get minutes on the pitch. AC Milan still remains in contact with Chelsea forward Hakim Ziyech. AC Milan continues to stay in contact with Hakim Ziyech despite negotiations dying down over the summer. The future of Chelsea's Hakim Ziyech was very unknown towards the end of the transfer window, with various teams across Europe wanting the Moroccan forward. AC Milan was the first team to try and bring the 29-year-old to San Siro, but after negotiations slowed down, Ziyech became frustrated with the Italian club and decided to rethink his options. The Moroccan forward's former team Ajax was the next team to try their luck, as the Dutch side pushed to try to sign Ziyech on a loan deal. However, Chelsea would only let the player leave on a permanent deal and for a price of around £40 million. This caused Ajax to pull out of the deal, refusing to pay the full price to bring Ziyech back to the club that made him. Reports come out today from the Italian news site Sempre Milan saying, AC Milan has kept in contact with Ziyech as they look to try again in January. So far this season, Ziyech has 4 appearances for the Blues, 2 in the Premier League and 2 in the Champions, failing to contribute to any goal. With Graham Potter appointed as the new Chelsea manager, Ziyech's plans may change, but as of now, the 29-year-old looks likely to depart in the near future. Jules Kounde reveals why he rejected Chelsea for Barcelona after talks with Thomas Tuchel. Barcelona star Jules Kounde has revealed he spoke to Thomas Tuchel about a move to Chelsea before rejecting the club's offer. The Frenchman joined Barcelona in a £55 million deal earlier this summer from Sevilla, despite the club's financial problems. Chelsea attempted to sign Kunde in 2021 but refused to meet a £67 million release clause in the defender's contract. The Blues renewed their efforts in the summer transfer window, with Todd Boehly willing to bankroll unprecedented levels of spending after his consortium's takeover of the club. Tuchel held talks with Kunde and explained his vision for the Frenchman, who was seen as a replacement for Andreas Christensen and Antonio Rudiger. But, though Kunde was impressed with Tuchel, he says he couldn't reject Barcelona's advances after speaking to Xavi about a move to the Camp Nou. "First, I come to a huge club, which has known good times and which, lately, has had less," said Kunde. "I come to a project that I would not call reconstruction, because we already have a competitive team, but rather, being upturned. I was interested in being part of this new wave, in search of titles, and to put Barca back where it has always been, among the best clubs." Then there was the conversation with the coach. "We talked about football, mainly. I felt a real confidence from him, that he had a real knowledge of myself, my game and my qualities. I spoke with Tuchel and I also felt that he wanted me to come, but I simply preferred Xavi's speech." Chelsea signed Kalidou Koulibaly for a fee of around £36 million earlier in the window from Napoli. They then spent around £75 million on signing Wesley Fofana from Leicester City, in a deal that's only been topped by the £80 million Manchester United paid for Harry Maguire in 2019 for a defender. Tammy Abraham has admitted it was difficult for him to leave Chelsea last summer, but he has no regrets over his move to Roma. The 24-year-old left the Blues in 2021 after 2 seasons in the senior side, having previously spent time on loan at various clubs after graduating from the academy at Cobham. Abraham was promoted to the first team by Frank Lampard in 2019 and scored a total of 30 goals in all competitions for his boyhood club, as well as being able to lift Champions League. He then made a permanent switch to Roma in Serie A last summer, and has been hugely successful for them ever since he completed his transfer. Former Chelsea boss Jose Mourinho currently leads the side, who won the Conference League last season. In an interview with the Daily Mail, Abraham revealed his thoughts about his departure from Chelsea for the Italian top flight. "If you told me a couple of years ago I'd be playing in Italy, I wouldn't have believed you. Leaving Chelsea was difficult, it's where I'd grown up from the age of 7. I didn't know much about Italian football, but it has helped me develop as a player and as a man. I've come out of my comfort zone and don't have any regrets. I love the life and it's brought out another side to my game. At Chelsea, I was viewed purely as a goalscorer. Here, I've learned different aspects of the game. If our opponents have more of the ball, I know how to position myself defensively. You have to be more clinical finishing chances because they can be limited." Abraham is now in his second season in Serie A, having played 2 campaigns in the Premier League.